Today's episode of the Bill Simmons Podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network, brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor. Buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps on your phone, everything fully guaranteed. Football fans, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase on NFL tickets. Use promo code BSNFL. Download the SeatGeek app or go right to SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by Hotel Tonight, the app that helps you find amazing hotel deals up to 7 days in advance. Perfect for an unexpected trip or a spontaneous staycation. Play it by ear, knowing you'll have the freedom to score a great place and price. All it takes is 10 seconds, 3 taps and a swipe. Grab killer last-minute deals by downloading the Hotel Tonight app now. This is going to be an interview that we taped with Jake Gyllenhaal last Friday in my office. He has a new movie coming out called Stronger. That is about a Boston Marathon bombing victim named Jeff Bauman. I thought the movie was excellent. I saw it last week, and I was really excited to have Jake on talk about the movie and his career and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're going to do that right after the break. Wanted to mention quickly, theringer.com, my mailbag/picks column goes up every Friday. I might be in a little bit of a cold streak, but that doesn't mean the column can't be damn entertaining. And also, don't forget about all the good stuff we have on theringer.com. NBA preview stuff is launching. It actually launched the beginning of last week, but we are now in the mix. All the NBA stuff, pop culture, NFL, politics, you name it. It's all in there, theringer.com. And also the rewatchables, which I'm not on this week, but I did Speed last week with all my dudes. And we had the Titanic this week with Julia Littman, Amanda Dobbins, and Cam Collins is going to be posted later this week. And then next week, Scream, the longest one we've ever done. Who would have guessed Scream would be the longest rewatchable pods? So anyway, that's a great feed. People really like that one. And if you want to send any questions about any of the pods that we've done on the rewatchables, hit us at the mailbag at theringer.com. Coming up, Jake Gyllenhaal, but first, Pearl Jam. Jake Gyllenhaal in the house. We're taping this on a Friday, the day his movie came out, Stronger, which is excellent. We're going to talk about that. We're running it next week, but it'll be fine. Your movie will do okay. I was saying you walked in, and I was like, wow, you're tall. You were like almost as tall as I was. Anytime I meet an actor, I'm always prepared for anything from like 5'4" to 6'3". You never know. Wow. But yeah, I think you're like the 7th tallest actor in Hollywood.
Yeah. I actually am.
Clint Eastwood, Liam Neeson, Jeff Goldblum.
This is good.
I think that maybe Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's like Ben Affleck's solid
tall.
6'2".
Leonardo DiCaprio's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Adam Driver's pretty tall.
Adam Driver. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's tall.
Should be a basketball team of tall actors.
I think he probably would. Yeah. That'd be a horrible basketball team. Well, actually, I shouldn't speak for the tall. Maybe they play basketball at some point. But
you've only done one sports movie, right? Southpaw? Were you in anything else? You weren't in a team sport movie yet.
No.
A lot of time.
I really, when I was a kid, because I was a kid actor, I really wanted to be in the Sandlot.
Did you audition for it?
I did. I auditioned for the Sandlot.
Oh my God. I want to make sure my phone's off. This is, that's probably my son's favorite movie or
no
top
way.
3, but it's funny, like that now that they're streaming, it just keeps going. The next generation just jumps in and then it just.
What used to be
a
graveyard.
What part did you try
for? The like nerdy kid. I forget his name.
That's a tough loss.
But then the kid who I actually played with, I played over here in LA at John Burroughs High School. Like they had like the baseball league over there, and the kid who was like the star player actually got cast as like the star player in the movie. You know, the
kind of tall kid who had a good game,
tall, good looking kid who was like, I played baseball with him over at John Burroughs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're an LA kid then?
I was.
I did
no
research for this.
Yeah,
I always like to learn as I go with the thing.
Well,
so you and your sister, LA kids that get in acting.
Yes.
Parents or you wanted it? Parents wanted it or you wanted it?
No. I don't know. I'm not consciously.
Yeah.
But my father's a director. He directs TV. And my mom's a screenwriter. So we come by it honestly. or not honestly in Hollywood terms, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, we come by faking it really honestly. So we were sort of in LA and in that kind of trying to make movie scene since we were kids. And then we just got into acting.
We like doing commercials and all that
no,
stuff?
No. We didn't do that. I took acting classes with my kid. My parents let me do that. And then
what high school did you go to?
I went to Harvard Westlake High School.
Interesting. A baseball powerhouse now.
Powerhouse.
They're like a college university practically.
I went to high school with the Collins twins, actually. They were in the class right above me. Yeah. So, I'm used to tall, and they're tall and smart. So, I went with them. But yeah, they are a baseball powerhouse, and they're in it's a pretty incredible school all around, academically too. I mean, and the performing arts department there is incredible too. I mean, that was really where I learned about like the literature and the history of, particularly theater. And then from an incredible teacher there named Ted Walsh, who a number of people who have passed through there, like Jason Segel was in my class. Actually, he played basketball. He played with the
tall
Collins.
guy. Yeah, he's like
super
6'4".
tall. Yeah. We were in the same, he was 1 year older, but we were in the same class. Same school. So yeah.
So you were like age 17, 18, you're like, I'm going to be an actor. I'm doing this.
Yeah, I guess I thought that, what I was doing was in between my free periods, I was going to auditions. So if I had like a double free period, I would schedule an audition if it was possible, and I would go run out. And usually, because the high school is in Studio City, so usually a lot of those places where you audition are like around Studio City and the Valley. So I would just rush out, finish class, rush out, get in my car, go do an audition, and come back.
Make yourself cry.
Yeah, make myself cry, and then make myself cry. And then
work up some sort of emotion in 10 minutes.
Punch myself in the face in the car and just walk right in, come back out. But when I was 16, it was really funny. I was 16. I was not cast in the school play, and I thought I was going to get it because I had been in a lot of plays and I was pretty cocky about it. And I walked into the audition and I asked Ted Walsh, the theater teacher there, how to get to this like professional audition I was going to go do after. And I didn't really memorize my lines, and I didn't really give it much focus. And I was like, I'll get the starring part in this. And then I went and did the other audition, and I went to the like cast list the next day, and I wasn't cast. And I was like, what's up with that? And I was heartbroken. And I went up to him and he's like, being an actor is not just about being good at what you do. It's about being respectful to the people around you. And you walked in here and you were, you asked where the next audition was, and you didn't really know your lines. And I don't want someone like that in my production. And it was the biggest lesson I've learned.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny how you can have one thing like that happen in your formative years, and it can completely flip your perspective on things.
Well, the irony of that was the next couple weeks I auditioned for this movie called October Sky, which was the first movie that I was starred in, and I was 16, and I got the part. And he then cast me in the musical, the school musical the next semester, and I couldn't do it because I went to go make that movie. Yeah. And he came to visit me on set. Actually, we shot in Knoxville, Tennessee. And he came to visit me on set, and when I take off my wardrobe at night, after you finish work, a lot of people kind of throw it on the wherever you are, like the bed or whatever in a trailer, and I always like to fold it up, like I always like take it. And he saw me doing that, and he was like, "That's what I'm talking about." He's like, fold up your costume, so be respectful to everybody. And that was a big lesson that he taught me. I've since totally abandoned that, but
But you give me an A-list star, just
who
ordering
cares?
people
Respect
around.
whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all about the money. But that's always been it's always in my head, and that was super formative. But yeah, Harvard Westlake, that's an amazing performance.
I want to talk about Stronger, and then I want to zip through your IMDb and talk about some of the movies in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I have it printed out.
It's a long, bumpy ride.
Stronger is emotional. I mean, obviously I'm from Massachusetts and spent my first 32 years of my life in New England and lived in Boston the last 10 years I was there. And the marathon's kind of holy ground. Yeah. And so I've gotten nervous anytime there's been a marathon movie. Patriots Day, I was super nervous because that was almost like an action movie.
Yeah.
And they handled it well, and it's good, and I'm glad they made it. Your movie, which I intentionally didn't read about because I wanted to just kind of throw myself into it, and it's about Jeff Bauman, and it's grueling, but and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, I mean, you're in it from the get-go as a viewer, and you see everything, and it was really emotional. Like it was one of those movies you leave the theater and you're just kind of like, what do I do now? Gotta go get some food. But I thought it was terrific.
My dad went to Shake Shack after last night. He saw the movie. He was like,
Really?
I just felt so relieved and so happy and so like life was good. He's like, so him and his wife, he's like, so we went to Shake Shack. And I was like,
Chicken
awesome,
sandwich.
Dad. Yeah.
So you've had a few of these roles that you just, just these really taxing roles. Is that an accident, or is that something that you just find yourself attracted to?
I don't know, maybe sort of both. I'm drawn to a challenge.
Yeah.
And then I'm drawn to what moves me. So maybe it's the challenge that moves me, but in the case of Stronger, I was just, first of all, when I read it, the screenplay of it in an early draft, I was laughing, I didn't know that I would turn to page 3 and I'd start laughing, and then I'd be crying and I'd be laughing at spots. And like, I think that's what surprised me about it. And
they set the characters up as just these in the wool Boston dudes.
Yeah, initially. And then I think it's just when the event happens, I think the way Jeff handles it is initially through humor. I mean, the first thing he asks when he wakes up is Aaron, who's his girlfriend, is Aaron okay? Yeah. And then the next thing he says is Lieutenant Dan. You know what I mean? So I think, and then the next thing he says is, I saw the bomber, because he identified the bomber, and he was a pivotal part in catching those guys. So, I mean, I think I was moved by it in more ways than that. And then I think that's how I read a script normally, is I go, the story's really great and I want to be a part of it. And then I usually go, oh shit, like this character is going through a lot. I didn't even realize it. I just love the story so much. And then I just get in it, So I am drawn to the physical aspects of performing and also the mental aspects. I don't think they're different in the end. So yeah.
Well, with this one, the CGI was almost a character. Yeah. I don't think we've seen a lot of variations of this type of movie, where, especially like Forrest Gump from 20 years ago, where you can see now that the CGI is pretty obvious. This was incredible how they did it. Yeah. Like it's every single scene where there's a wide shot, or like there were some of them where I was like, I don't know how they did that. Yeah. It's incredible. Oh yeah. I mean, well, we worked with an incredible company called Mikros, who they just do incredible work, because they're not about only them and what they're doing. They're about the scene and what's going on in it. So they'd say to David Gordon Green, the director, and to me, they'd say, well, what do you want to do? And we'd talk about what we want to do. And then we would all figure out how to get that done. So like there's a scene where his girlfriend's sitting on the bed where your legs would have been. Yeah. But you have legs. Yeah. So like, how do they do that? So in that case, in order to pull anything like that off, we live in a world now of so much visual effects that I feel like people are not used to, like what you'd call in-camera stuff, just stuff you do actually on the set. Yeah. So a mixture of it is always what makes the magic. Because it seemed like the two of you were acting and right next to each other. Yeah, we were right next to each other. And the reason why is because my legs are under the bed, there are holes in the bed. And then we made prosthetic molds of the top of my legs, because Jeff is a bilateral AK, so above the knee, both legs. And we made prosthetics of both sides of my quads, basically. And then we have an incredible makeup prosthetic guy who created that. So I wore these pants that had doubles of my knees, and then my legs went under, and then the prosthetics went over on top of it. So I can actually move them underneath. It's very hard to explain, but I can move them underneath a little bit. So that's why she could do that there. But then in some cases, I have green socks on in the wheelchair, and I always have to keep my legs straight out
in that scene because you want to keep the thing that makes it work is that it's not like I'm wearing green socks, my legs are bent, I'm just keeping normal. My legs are straight out in green socks. So I'm doing a scene with someone and my legs are just sticking out, sometimes in between their legs. Like I'll roll up in between. I don't know if it's hard to visualize.
No, I noticed a couple times where you would see the person behind where your legs should have been, and I don't know.
They are incredible.
It was seamless though, because you bought in immediately with it, and it was one of those things where 20 years ago, I think that kind of stuff could have overshadowed a little bit, but you didn't think about it in this case. So there's like about an hour of this movie that is just grim, and the character's in a dark place. Are you one of those people when you're doing a movie like that, do you go in a dark place, or are you able to turn it on and off?
Yeah, I mean, I knew like no matter what I did, I wouldn't get anywhere near what Jeff went through. So I just tried to understand everything about him. And I think people who were there that day, anyone who was touched by that event, and what happened can feel those feelings, I think, somewhere, and,
but like you're coming home, but back to your hotel at like 10:30 at night. Like, how do you get out of that?
Sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't. I mean, there's one night, particularly that scene where I have to drag myself across the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we would roll the camera for like 20 minutes, and I think that struggle sometimes, every time in my mind, you just go like, no matter what you do, you will never understand the pain. So how far can you go? So, rolling a camera for 20 minutes and being in it is tough, but it's nowhere near tough and, compared to Jeff. So I just kept you're just in it. And I remember after that scene, we finished at like 2 a.m. because we were shooting at like half night, half day. And drove home. My driver's name's Dana. He's awesome, and I like thank God for Dana because I wouldn't been able to get a little bit of the accent without Dana because he's got the best accent. And I just couldn't get out of it, Like I didn't sleep that night, and then I came back to the set the next morning, and I was like, I went into makeup because I have an incredible makeup artist. He does incredible character work. It's amazing what he did. We have all these discussions about the painkillers that Jeff was on and how that affects your body, how that affects your skin tone, like how the body in stress, when you're sitting there, you sweat while you're trying not to express yourself, but your body's saying something else. We talk about that a lot. He's all about physiological, psychological effect on the body. And it's not just like, ooh, like, let's make you look pretty, I went in and we started talking. I just broke down. Like, I just cried to him, and I was like, this is crazy, and things like that happen, Jeff's story is like that. And there are harrowing times in the story, but
what really resonated with me is it was kind of unapologetic, some of the things it showed, especially like when they take the wraps off his stumps for the first time, and the camera's just like, we're showing you this. Yeah. And you're going to go through this with him. Yeah. And that when it gets to that level, that's when I think as somebody who's in the theater, that's the stuff that sticks with you after, I think. Well, in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to, how do you know joy without pain?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's the thing that movies like this, particularly inspirational movies, don't tend to go to. They don't, in my opinion, we had to have the balls to be able to go like, we're going to go to the pain so we can go to the joy. How do you earn that joy? And that was well,
what's even cooler, the thing I wasn't prepared for was the girlfriend, which is a part that can go either way in a movie like this, and sometimes can just turn into a wet blanket, which is usually what happens in any sports movie. But but in this one, she becomes as sympathetic as him, and you start rooting for her. And she's also a great actress. That usually helps. But you start rooting for her the same way you're rooting for Jeff, which is I guarantee was the intention when they went into it, but it worked.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, she's the strongest one.
Yeah.
I mean,
and she had, both of you nailed the accents, which I'm very particular about. I was worried.
Really, man? Because like people have been giving me like people like it's like some Boston.
You're taking shit for it?
No, like in person, no. But like there's some reviews and stuff. People are like, oh, he's doing his best like Brooklyn accent. I'm like, no, you, man. Sorry, I just I'm like, we worked so hard on it, and I that's really good to hear from you. Thank you. Set the record straight.
I've talked about this before, but most of the Boston accent, the mistake most actors make is they try to do the
like
Kennedy,
the padded,
the Kennedy version.
It's so true.
And then a part of it has the whole,
Yeah.
like Damon has, because he's from there.
Yeah,
he gets
I mean,
it.
come on. Yeah, he has a great one.
But like then Martin Sheen and Nicholson's trying to do it, and he's doing like this New York Bronx accent.
So-
But you had like it's attitude. It's 75%. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like it's like there's a hiss to it that you
have to
figured
be
out.
okay with being torn apart. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like that's a big part of it. If you're okay with it, then the accent comes out. If you can take some shit, then you can probably do the
And her
accent.
accent was good too.
Yeah, well, she's Canadian.
Everybody was good. Then you had Lenny Clark, who has one of the 5 best Boston accents on the planet.
Lenny's one of the 5 best people on the planet.
Yeah, that was a lot of lines for Lenny. I've known him for a while. That was
If Oprah's your lifeline.
when I saw him,
Teddy.
I was like, they got Lenny as a Boston guy. And it's like he had like 7-8 scenes.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I've known Lenny for a really long time because when I grew up, my mom went to Martha's Vineyard like with an old boyfriend years, like 30, 40 years ago. And then she brought us there when we were kids. So we've been going, like all my best friends grew up in and around Boston. So like, cause I spent my summers over there. So Lenny, I've known actually for a really long time, always come up to me on the beach. Like, hey Jake, it's Lenny. Hey, how you doing? You know, and I'm like, this guy's nuts. And then like, I love him. I love Lenny so much. And he came in to read and he was like, you better get me a pot. Give me a pot. I was like, yeah. Okay, Lenny. He was fantastic because he's fantastic. And I was like, you got yourself a part. You're
Where'd
awesome.
you shoot this in Massachusetts? Did you actually shoot in Chelmsford or did you go all around?
Yeah. We shot all around. We shot in Chelmsford. We shot in Boston, like pretty much in and around Boston. That was it became kind of hard because they were shooting Patriots Day and also we were shooting at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
well, they're two totally different movies. So I mean,
they are, but I think the city was very sensitive, rightfully so, and I think when you got so much of that coming in at a time where I feel like people were like, look, we're still healing from this. And I think there's rightfully so a skepticism of like, what is, quote unquote Hollywood doing here, and like, but we all had the best intentions and like a lot of love. And I think they saw that. I hope they see that now, but I think they really got that when we were there.
They brought out the best of Boston and everything I love about Boston. Like this terrible incident but it happened on like the Holy Boston Day, which is like this special holiday that only people from Massachusetts get off. And then there's all these stories that, they're going to run the marathon again. And everybody's about to like, fuck that. We're doing the marathon again.
Yeah.
And it was like more people than ever the next year. And it was like kind of everything I love about the city and what I miss about, living 3,000 miles away. But I had the same reaction when I heard they were making Patriots Day. When I heard about this, I was like, I don't know. But
believe me, I was like,
it's a big stakes because if it didn't work out, nobody would be angrier and more vengeful, I think, than Boston people. Have you screened it in Boston yet?
Yeah, we premiered the movie. The U.S. premiere of the movie was at Spalding Rehabilitation Center in Charlestown, which is where Jeff rehabilitated. After the injury, it was actually where a lot of the first patients there were marathon survivors and amputees, and they were all there actually. Jeff and the doctors and all the caretakers.
So what's his reaction to this? This has to be like an out of body experience for him to watch this.
Yeah, think about it. I was thinking about it when we were in Spalding Rehabilitation. I was thinking 4 years ago, he was here as an outpatient. Before that, just as a patient, trying to recalibrate his entire life and trying to get perspective, being called a hero, not knowing what that meant, He always says he was sucker punched, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, you're a hero. And he's like, whoa, give me some time.
That was one of the best scenes when they take him to the Bruins game.
Oh yeah.
You're going to wave the flag and his head spinning and he can't process it.
That was the first day. We shot that the first day. Yeah. Cause we didn't know if the Bruins were going to make the playoffs and they didn't. And so we were like...
But you needed the Bruins game.
We needed the Bruins game.
Yeah.
We needed that so bad.
Yeah.
And I remember the conversation because we were in pre-production and we were in the production office and Nicholas Stern, our awesome line producer, who did Creed, and he's awesome. And he came into office. He's like, is everybody sitting down? And like also because in that scene was one of the biggest, in the elevator, that's a pretty big scene too, where he gets overwhelmed by everything that's going on, and there's his like PTSD kind of comes back a bit, and so He goes, so listen, it looks like the Bruins are not going to make the playoffs. And so we need to probably shoot on the first day. And we need to like put out basically an APB now and say, hey, anyone who's going to that game, can you stay? Because we're going to shoot afterwards. And let's just pray they don't lose that night because everyone's going to leave.
Right.
I was like, oh shit.
Jesus.
I was like, okay. Like, but this movie's been like that from the jump. Like every single thing about it has said like, you go deep or you go home. Like literally it was that every single time. It was like, it's asking that of you. I don't know what it is about the organism that this movie is. Maybe it's just like the spirit of Boston or whatever it might be, but everything was like, it looks like we're going to lose this thing. And then, so we get out there and we shoot some stuff in the box because we have some scenes to shoot in the box. And then the game ends, the Bruins lose, and we make this announcement. Me and Jeff have filmed this thing. It goes up on the Megatron thing. And like, they say, hey, we're filming if you guys can stay. And, you know, hopefully not forever cynic, but I'm definitely a cynic. And I thought, no one's going to stay. And we get down there. I get in the wheelchair. I'm there with Tatiana, who plays Aaron in the movie, and our crew's there and our camera crew. And they make the announcement, lights go down. And they roll me out, and I realize that 3/4 of the stadium has stayed. And they've all come down, and including Jeff's boss at Costco, who's gotten through Kevin, his cousins, like all these people lined up as I'm being rolled out, and they're all cheering like Jeff, USA. And I just got overwhelmed. It like overwhelmed me just by proxy, the love they have for Jeff, that everybody stayed. And I just thought like that was the craziest, most beautiful send off you could ask for. I just thought, man, this city, like, and that was it. Like that was how we started, thinking we were going to lose, but I think we didn't. So
do you think this was the best performance of your career? Or is it fair to even say that?
Like
I mean, can you even judge your career like that?
No, I have no perspective on my career.
Yeah.
I don't really plan. I mean, that, you know, in all honesty, we're strategic, you know, people I work with, you know, we are thoughtful and.
Yeah, but you're the rare A-list actor who just picks movies you want to make every time. Like you're not, yeah, I'm sure you've been offered superhero movies and things like that, but it seems like you like veering left, right, down, up, doing all kinds of things, challenging yourself.
You have to know yourself.
Not to sound, I'm not sounding like I'm kissing your ass.
No, but that's fine.
Studying your
I'm
career.
cool with that. I don't mind that.
I never know what Jake Gyllenhaal movie is next.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I mean, I think that you got to know who you got to know who you are. You got to know your value, and you got to know who wants, you know, like I've always thought that I've tried that game. Like I've tried the sort of the huge game, you know, like, and like I think it's a different. You
just felt like that wasn't you?
Yeah. And I just think I'm a different gambler, you know, like I gamble. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't, you know, I think everybody has this idea, like you got to do the, like this, I don't know, whatever this, we all have this, maybe it's an American thing. It's like, we think we got to go like higher and bigger and all this stuff. And to me, I think I just bet, like, I don't bet safe, but I think I just try and bet with my instinct and say, I got to bet on myself, you know? So if you're going to bet on yourself, you got to bet on what you like and what you can give your everything to. And I think then eventually people go, this guy's probably going to give everything to this thing. So maybe I'll go see it.
We're going to take a quick break to talk about Gillette. Did you know the tip of a Gillette razor blade is measured on an atomic scale, meaning their blade edges are thinner than a single brain cell? Wow. That precision is the work of many brain cells. Hundreds of members of Gillette's research and development team have spent over 4,700 years combined working to make your shave closer and more comfortable longer than the Egyptian pyramids have been around. And while over 1,000 craftsmen and women in Boston are busy making your blades, another team is putting your blades through more than 60 extremely strict and precise quality checks. Fail just one of these tests, doesn't leave the factory. In other words, the hardworking people at Gillette never stop working to make your blades better. And now that includes the price tag. You can get Gillette blades at their lowest prices in years. See for yourself at GilletteOnDemand.com. Gillette, the best a man can get. Pricing applies to select products and it's at the sole discretion of the retailer. Let's get back to Jake Gyllenhaal. What actor as you were kind of rising up the ranks, did you say that's the type of career I'd want, that guy's career? Or did you not have one?
I don't know. I didn't really look at, I mean, for a little while there, I really, really respected, like, I mean, I still do really respect, but I think early on, I looked at, like, there was like Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire and that group of guys who were working with great directors.
Yeah.
I think their choice is like, just work with great directors and you'll be cool. And
smart move.
Yeah, it's a smart move. And
you're not really in that group. Are you too young for them? They're like a little older, right?
I am way too young for them. No.
Like 5 years too young?
Those dudes are old. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm like 8 years younger. 8 years younger than them. Yeah.
Oh, man, you missed out on a lot of good parties.
I know.
They couldn't have folded you in like a younger brother type thing?
Again, I've been to some pretty good parties. They've just been a little bit, maybe not as high profile. But you know what? Like, it's my thing. I just do my thing,
Right.
So, no, they're covered. They don't need anybody else,
That's true. They have enough. I think they have enough in the group. What was your biggest paparazzi run? Where you were just...
What do you mean, like running away from or towards?
No, just when all of a sudden you were in Us Weekly all the time and you're like, how did I get here? What happened to my life?
That's sort of how I feel every day. How did I get here? What happened to my life? Is sort of a general mantra. But I don't know. In my early 20s, I think there was like
when you were dating Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, like when I first
people were taking photos of you guys having coffee.
Yeah, that was intense. What we were doing was intense.
Yeah. That was like kind of the height of the early paparazzi. Before, like,
yeah, that was when getting coffee, like, that garnered like a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was like I was on Conan O'Brien the other night and he was like, there's this Instagram page called like Things Jake Does or something like that.
What?
And, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so funny. There are pictures of me eating a sandwich and laughing, and they've cut people out of it. And it's like Jake laughing at his sandwich. It's the best. It's like Jake being amazed by snow. Cause like there's like pictures of me like at some premiere. I did this movie The Day After Tomorrow, and there's like all this snow coming down they did for like the red carpet. And so I was like smiling, and I was like, that wasn't snow, that's cocaine. I mean,
I do think social media has changed the game with that stuff. Cause like last decade, that was... You read Us Week or whatever to stay in touch with whatever celebrities you liked or were interested in, stuff like that. And now you just get them directly. Yeah. I'm not saying me personally, but now like Instagram and the way Twitter and the way people can just go directly to their fans, it doesn't seem like who's on Robertson taking pictures of people coming out of the Ivy, when I was living here in the mid 2000s, you get on Robertson and there was paparazzi everywhere, and now Robertson's like half the stores are gone.
Well, that's nice. Well, not nice to hear that all the stores are gone, but
it's nice from a privacy standpoint. It's probably a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think after a while you just learn how to, go to the places where you feel most comfortable. I think that's basically.
You're not used to it. I can tell.
What?
Just being famous and having somebody take a picture of you as you're like coming out of the gym.
I'm not used to that. And I know that's like but I also will say that, it's one of those things where they always like catch you like scowling and stuff like that, because generally what I would say, and this doesn't go for every one of them, but there's usually not a great exchange that happens in that process. And then what happens is the thing they get usually is you dealing with someone who's not a nice person taking the picture, but you really do love all the people who are looking at that picture.
Yes.
Which is always that's always the difficult part, is like, it's really just the jerk who's doing that. So just be aware that if there was somebody being jerky taking your picture, you'd probably be like that too. Like, keep that in mind with people when you see pictures of them, that generally that's what's happening. They really like the people who are looking at the picture.
Let's go through some IMDb.
Okay.
1991, City Slickers.
Yeah.
You played Danny Robbins.
Yes, I did.
Who was Danny Robbins? This was your first role.
He was Billy Crystal's son.
You were Billy Crystal's son in City Slickers?
Yes, I was.
Did you know this, Tommy? No idea. Kyle's never seen City Slickers. He's
How old are you? How old are you?
He's like 24.
How old are you? You're 24? You've never seen City Slickers?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
That's like on VHS. You don't even know what VHS is. Literally.
You're lying,
if you're 24,
Kyle.
You're like, I said to somebody the other day, I was talking about Crisscross, And I was like, because I, by mistake the other day, we were super busy promoting this movie and I put on my underwear backwards and I wore them on backwards all day long. And then I had to change for something and I was like, oh no, it wasn't changing. I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the
There's
I
no
literally
hole?
was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
What's
and then
going
I was
on?
like, what's wrong with me? And then, so that happened. I turned him around. I like weirdly in the bathroom went and like turned him around. And then it was strange because I was like in a doctor's office. It was weird. I felt uncomfortable. And then I went home and I had to go do some event that night. And I walk into the event and I realized my t-shirt's on backwards. I was like, what's wrong with
So
me?
you're losing your mind.
So I'm talking to these people. They're 20, 23, 24. And I'm like, man, I put on my shirt on backwards and my underwear on backwards today. And da-da-da. It's like crisscross. And they were like, and I was like, no, this is
Blank
happening.
slate. Yeah.
No,
That's the way it is.
it's happening.
The mid-90s is officially the nostalgia zone.
Yeah.
Like the MTV has a show called 90s House where the people
No.
have to dress and act like they're in the 90s. That's how old we are. Yeah. That's where we're headed.
I gotta say, like, they don't know the Sprite commercial with crisscross. Like,
No.
come on.
No.
Like, it's like, yo, Chris, what up? What is that? What up? Something. What's his name? And he's like, what's it in your hand?
What
It's
up,
the S to
Chris?
the PRITE can. Come on. Understand the cross, Chris. Drink the crazy, crazy twist of unexpectedness that you can never miss. So what's your name? Daddy, MAC. And what's your drink? SPRITE. What? Because it's a lifesaver when you
know
need
this.
thirst quencher like a kiss with a lime and twist. Now you know that's kicking. What? So drink up is all you got to do. Why? Because I like the Sprite in you.
Wow.
Come on.
I wish we had a crowd to applaud right now.
90s.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
What do you remember about October Sky
Oh, wow.
in 30 seconds?
Chris Cooper, before he was Chris Cooper, Laura Dern, being 16 years old, having no idea what it was like to be in a movie, let alone star in a movie. And
you had like your own trailer and stuff.
Yeah,
and
my own
your name's
trailer.
on a door.
yeah, but I like expected a lot of pomp and stuff. Like I expected it to be kind of like, a movie set. And really when I realized what good hard work it is
Yeah.
at 16. And I was like pulled out of my second semester of my senior year in high school to do this. And it was a huge honor, but I remember Chris Cooper. That's what I'll say. 30 seconds or less, Chris Cooper.
Just being a pro?
Well, him saying to me in one fight scene we had, I was yelling, I was so excited because, fight scenes for actors are always the most fun,
Yeah.
And he was like, he stopped me and he was like, stop. Just listen to what I'm saying to you. And the whole entire scene changed. So
Interesting.
I've taken that advice from
Chris
the beginning.
Cooper.
Yes.
Donnie Darko. That was your breakout movie, 2001.
It's funny. That movie was like a flop when it first came
I
out.
know, but then it became like that had this whole second, third, fourth, and fifth, and seventh life.
I know. What do I remember? 22 days. We shot it in 22 days. And
22 days?
22 days.
Jesus.
Yeah, my sister's in it. I remember Patrick Swayze, who was the consummate gentleman.
I call him the great Patrick Swayze.
He
you
is
can
the
call
great-
him Patrick Swayze.
No, he is
I
the
call him
great Patrick Swayze. He really
Incredible
is. Man.
run.
Yeah. And he was just the kindest man, just the kindest man, like the version of, the star that you would always hope people would be, Great man.
The Good Girl? That's the one with Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, we made out. Yeah, we
Just kinda-
simulated sex and we made out in that movie. That's all I remember.
Simulated. Was that your first simulated sex scene?
Yeah. It was real kissing, but it wasn't real kissing, but
Yeah.
it was simulated sex, yes.
Did you have to wear like
And-
the patch, the dick patch? What do they call that thing? that giant circle patch?
yeah. Yeah, the giant circle patch. In my
Giant.
case, yeah, it was
Huge.
giant.
They had to get the extra
Yeah,
large.
yeah. No, I do remember a pillow between us. That's what I remember.
Good.
And it was that
Need the
moment.
pillow.
I remember actually I remember being like, man, I don't know what I like. I have to be naked. Like, this is weird. I have to be naked with Jennifer Aniston. Oh my
At the
God,
peak of her
yeah.
powers.
I was really,
Brad Pitt's gonna be
Awesome.
mad at you.
it was awesome and horrible at the same time. It was
Yeah.
like so incredible. Yeah. Pitt, it was like, you were psyched and then you were also like, I'm gonna get my ass beat. It was like, but you didn't. He was cool. And
Yeah, he's laid back, that Brad
he
Pitt.
was great.
Moonlight Mile, which is
He's tall too, actually. Pitt's pretty tall.
like 6 feet.
I don't know. 5'10".
Moonlight Mile, for the record, on cable.
Dustin
a lot.
Hoffman, not tall.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, he's short.
Yeah.
Moonlight Mile on cable a lot lately.
Really?
I don't know why.
Huh.
Yeah, on cable a lot.
That was just a bad haircut. That's the best thing I can remember. No, I don't. That was literally the all-star group of actors. I was 23. I have no idea how I got that part. And it was Susan Sarandon, Dustin Hoffman, Dabney Coleman, Holly Hunter. It was every single scene with another extraordinary legend. And I learned more on that movie. There are 2 or 3 movies along the way that I learned about acting from.
Like, so what'd you learn in that movie?
I remember seeing with Holly Hunter, well, Dustin all the time. I mean, knowing particularly that acting in film is very different than acting on the stage.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot off camera. And you can really help your fellow actor a lot too, and be engaged and make it new. And he does that a lot, you know.
I heard maybe he was changed by this point, but he had the reputation for being super difficult to work with though, at some point. Like the Kramer versus Kramer. Did you read that stuff?
I didn't read that.
I think they wrote a book about Meryl Streep, and there's this whole chapter about Kramer versus Kramer and how he would like make her really cry to get the performance he wanted. He was one of those guys. He must have mellowed out by 2002.
No, I think he did a little bit of that too, but I think
he made you cry.
Well,
no.
Yeah. Well, no. He tried. I don't know. No, I mean, the thing about it is like, and this is the thing about acting is we're all different animals, right? Like, I mean, I think we're all different animals in whatever we do. And if you're a professional in particular, I think you have to be aware that not everybody is the same animal. And that's something I've learned too. I'm definitely similar in style, not similar in caliber of talent, but definitely similar in style to Dustin in that I believe you should undo what you believe are the rules, you know, like you can get really caught in rules and ideas and preconceptions about a scene. And I think he's the kind of person who undoes those things and breaks you open into a new space. And I'm always down for that because it's a sacred space. I believe it's a sacred space. I believe once you get in front of that camera, like anything goes, right? And you better be prepared for anything. And like if you're down, I'm down. If you go far, that's why I love Tatiana Maslany in Stronger, because she's like that. There's a scene in the movie where she screams in my face, "That doesn't scare me, Jeff." That was her line because I was at her in the scene. Yeah. And she screamed back at me, "That doesn't scare me, Jeff." It's in the movie. It's such beautiful work by her.
But you didn't know that was coming?
No, we're just in the scene together. And I'm going at her and she was going at me. And because these characters in the movie have a lot going on and there's so much love between them, but there's so much pain and so much guilt and so much stuff. And she's going at me and I went at her and I was yelling. When I yelled at her, the character yells at her in the scene. He says, you know, why do you want me? Like, why do you want me? Like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, why do you want me? And she's like, "That doesn't scare me." And I'm screaming it at her. And she's like, "That doesn't scare me, Jeff." And it was like, you know, I think in that scene, when you hear that line too, you go, and you feel her power, you feel her strength. And he tries to take her down and she goes, "No." And that's the way their relationship is through the whole movie. So I think I love actors like that. I think preparation, discipline, planning, all of those things are everything and are important to the process, but you got to throw them away and then you got to come up with ideas in the moment because, you know, new things are going to happen. And Dustin was like that.
We do this podcast called The Rewatchables where we break down movies that people have seen a million times. I did Silence of the Lambs last week with my friend Chris Ryan.
Yeah.
And in the research of it, found out that the first time Jodie Foster had the scene with Hopkins, when she goes down in the cellar and she does the accent, he ad-libs something about how he can tell it's her accent. Like he basically makes fun of her accent as Anthony Hopkins, but through Lecter. And it rattled her and made her upset, which is what he wanted, and then got whatever performance he was hoping for. I was like, I love that shit. I love when the actors are like kind of nudging each other a little bit.
I think that's the game. I mean, that's the fun part. That's the fun when you get to a place. Like that's why you come prepared. Yeah. Because if you're not ready, like the truth is, if you don't have everything down, your research, all of your lines in an unconscious way, which is about preparation, like I have learned from working with having had the privilege to work with such incredible actors, like, you know, like literally like get off the field, right. You know? And so I come in and I'm ready to go, you know? And in truth, like if you're not ready to go, like I'm going to like I'm gonna do my thing, and I think that's beautiful. You know,
Kind of sounds like basketball.
Yeah,
You're like the captain of a basketball team. It's like, get off the court.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Hey, we're running today.
It is an honor to be doing it.
Yeah.
There are so many people who want to be doing it, and there's so many people who deserve to be there. Probably maybe more than me or the other people who are doing it too,
Yeah.
you know? And the truth is, if you're there, like, you better play hard, you know? And like, that's definitely how I feel. But I think it's a different thing too, because you can't just go all, you have to be vulnerable too.
Right.
You have to be open. You have to be able to love. You have to be able to say, I'm a little broken too. You know, it's not all just like push back. It's also saying, who are you? This is me, you know? And that's why I think, you know, relationships with actors are amazing, you know? I think they can be really cool people.
So at some point you became kind of one of the young guys.
Like the horror movie, or like...
No, like you probably had a lot of options. People are like, everyone loves to do the, he's next, here he comes.
Right.
And you get to do that whole wave of publicity. Did The Day After Tomorrow, summer
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
But it seems like you were kind of already starting to veer toward, no, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to actually make some choices.
Yeah. I mean...
Because your next couple are all like thoughtful choices.
Well, what happens in a career when you're young and you start is you first don't have much choice. You just go and audition and you hopefully get parts. And if you do get the parts, then you're just psyched to be working.
Yeah.
You know, so I got lucky to be making some really, you know, get cast in some really nice films, you know. And then you sort of go into a period of time where you're like cast and then also are auditioning. So whatever you get, you're kind of doing too. And then eventually over time, sometimes if you're lucky enough, then you get to make those choices. So there are people making choices for you really early on. So a lot of these choices we're talking about are not fully mine. They're other people's and great filmmakers. So about The Day After Tomorrow is like when things sort of started to come. But like right after Day After Tomorrow was like...
You have a nice run right after that.
Yeah, and I think that run came from a mix of like things like Donnie Darko and also The Day After Tomorrow, because all of a sudden you're in a movie that makes money, and then
that
filmmakers go,
door.
okay, we could put him in a movie and all that stuff. And then it was like Jarhead, like Sam Mendes and John Madden and Gwyneth
Which
Paltrow
one was
movies.
first? Because 2005 you made 3 movies.
Yeah.
It was 3 good movies. Brokeback, Proof, and Jarhead.
Yeah. It was
It's a solid year.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Fucking 12 years later.
Jesus.
Thank you. I've been
pretty
waiting
nice.
for that for 12
3
years.
for 3.
No one's congratulated me about that year except
Man.
for you. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think
3 very different movies.
crazy different movies.
Proof didn't that have some Oscar nominations and stuff? I vaguely remember.
I don't know. No, I don't
No?
think so. Maybe, I don't know. Shit, I should know.
Brokeback did. You lost to Crash though.
Yes, we lost to Crash, yeah.
That has not aged well, that decision.
Which? Oh, the decision.
Anytime there's an Oscar travesties or worst Oscar
like in the
decisions,
article, I know,
it's
it's
always
always
in the
in
top
there.
5.
I
It's
know,
like,
it's
holy
always in
shit,
there.
Crash beat Brokeback.
I know.
It's more amazing over time. That was a great movie, and it's hard to watch now because of Heath Ledger. It's just like, especially you see that, or you see the Dark Knight, or even 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, guy was a great actor, and we don't have a lot of great actors now.
Nope.
You know, he's not there. I know you became super close to him when you did the film, but I mean, can you even watch that movie now?
Yeah, of course I can.
What's it like to watch it now that he's not here?
It's beautiful. I mean, you know, for me and for all of us who made that movie, making a movie is a very different experience from watching that movie, you know. But that movie the process of it was particularly special, you know. It was like, you know, what I remember from that is like little things, like watching Ang Lee do Tai Chi in the morning and right by a river. We were all living in our trailers, so right next door to each other. So it was like me and then Michael Hausman, who's our first AD, and then Ang Lee had his trailer, and then Heath had his trailer, and Heath and Michelle Williams, they fell in love on that movie. And so they were then in a trailer together, you know what I mean? And then it was like, and we had like 6 trailers, and we would eat in the morning. We'd have breakfast. Someone
You're just like
breakfast.
in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Where, Wyoming?
We were in Alberta, Canada. Okay. Yeah. And we would cook breakfast. One of us would cook breakfast. We'd all meet up. We'd have breakfast, have some coffee, and then one by one, in order of who was working first, we'd walk to set. And for the first month of that movie, it was that. And we weren't necessarily knew we were doing something special like what it became. We had no idea anyone would see the movie. So,
or you just thought it was gonna be like a indie?
Yeah, man.
Two movie theaters and that's it.
Yeah, at that time, no one was really telling stories like that, you know. So it was Ang Lee who was an extraordinary filmmaker. But I think we just went, yeah, it's a beautiful story. We want to tell it. And I don't think any of us knew the phenomena it would become. It was a phenomenon. It was crazy when it came out. And so for me, it's those times. I mean, to me, I think relationships are made not in, you know, the success of like the outward success, but in the connection. So we're all very deeply connected due to the process of that.
And then he's leaves the movie, he's dating Michelle Williams, and just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That movie now, 12 years later, and there's been so much progress with so many different things. Although maybe some of that progress is now being flipped as this has been not a great year in the country. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to go away. I know that is a fear, but
you know what I mean, though.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
for the moment.
But part of the narrative of that movie was like, it's a movie about these two men who fall in love. Like, this is so radical. Now it doesn't seem radical at all to watch it.
Yeah,
it's basically like a Western where 2 guys fall in love. But there's been so much TV, movie, everything that it's, you know, in 2005 you could feel it like, oh God, oh they're in the tent. Oh,
right. Yeah,
I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
Now it's like whatever.
Yeah. Really?
It's more. It's more.
You're like,
it's
yeah,
a Western.
I'm into it now. I can't get enough. I have a GIF of it. I GIF it. And I just put it on repeat. I just can't get enough of it.
But it's like a Western now. I think that's just what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it is still, I think, a very topical subject. I think it is still an issue. Like you said, I think it was at the time much more. I think there weren't a lot of movies that were being made like that. Like I said, you know, like I don't think we saw.
Well, think about like Kissing Jessica Stein was like 2002, and that was like this radical movie. They're these friends and they fall in love,
right?
And it just wasn't really a plot.
Yeah, I mean, it is very different in entertainment now. I mean, you have so many things being made about, you know, like same-sex relationships and transgender, and you know, there's a lot of things.
Gay characters, like it's
right. But man, I gotta say, like the response was so incredible from so many people.
From the Oscar committee.
Well, yeah, but also
that response wasn't incredible.
Well, I mean,
that was terrible.
It was interesting. You know,
I know you can't. You have to be.
No. It was. I mean, look, man. It's like that movie was made for $12 million, which is a lot of money. Yeah. It made $250 million around the world. Like, what do you make movies for? You know, for people to see them.
Yeah.
You know, and for people to be moved by them, and to hopefully, because I do believe in the power of storytelling, change some lives. Maybe have somebody see themselves in a different way, be moved. You know, walk in tight, walk in closed, come out open, come out looking at the world in a different way, or come in feeling like, oh, you know, like I got it made, and then have somebody scare the shit out of you and you go like, whoa, you know, there's so many different feelings that can be brought by a great story. And to me, like I'm not being political when I say it was interesting, because it is interesting. I think I study human behavior. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated the way we behave. You know, we are, and I speak for myself, I'm a bundle of contradictions. Like I will say this and do something else. And I think we are all like that. And if you do this job in a way that can, you know, it's your life's work, you know, you can look at the world in a different way, and it can teach you, because it is an absurd job that I do. It can be stupid, but it can also open doors and show you the world in a way that you've never seen before. Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would meet Jeff Bowman when I saw that photograph of him.
Yeah.
I saw that photograph of him and I was like, I was devastated. I was angered. I was hurt. But who knew that I would meet him 2 years later,
right? And
he'd be one of my friends and I make a movie about him. I mean, like that's the job. Who knew that I would spend 5 months on the street with cops doing this movie, End of Watch, that I did and it would change my life. I have two of my best friends in the world now because of that movie.
To watch, it was really good.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah.
I felt like it should have been bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
But see there, no, we made it for very little, and it made
I like that movie.
$50 million. That's pretty good.
Let's take a break to talk to the fantasy football fans. Listen up. It's not too late to join the 450,000 people that have already downloaded Draft this season. You get to play in a real life snake draft, but you're done in under 5 minutes and they last for just 1 week. Join one right now for week 4. Play for cold, hard cash. Your chances of winning are 80% better than on the salary cap sites. And if you already hate your fantasy football team, here's a chance to just start over. All new players get a free entry into a real money draft when you make your first deposit. You have to use the promo code The Ringer. That's the promo code. Play a real money game for free. Use promo code The Ringer. It gets even better. Draft.com is so sure you'll love it that they're even offering our listeners a money-back guarantee up to $100. All you have to do is search Draft in your app store or go to draft.com and come play for free right now with promo code The Ringer. Back to Jake Gyllenhaal. How good was Heath Ledger?
As an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I know he was a great actor, but was he potentially like an all-timer? What do you think would have happened the next 10 years of his career?
Yeah, I think that
because every choice he made, he was a totally different guy in each movie.
Yes, I think you can feel that energy. I think you can feel that energy from that time. That I think one of the saddest things about the whole thing is that we won't be able to see his work, but yeah, you can see how extraordinary he was just figuring it out in a way, and really expressing himself in a way.
The best actors, you could take 4 movies that they're in and they're completely different in each one and they feel like different human beings in each one. You know what I mean? Him in Dark Knight has no correlation to him in like his previous 3 movies, which is why I think he had a chance to, especially as he got older. I think it would have been fascinating to watch the choices he made.
So the net of his energy went out to so many different people, And since he died, I think I feel that a lot. Like all the people that he touched and interacted with, who he was learning from,
yeah,
that was cut short. There's such an eclectic mix of people. He just had no judgment, and he was so open artistically to people.
Yeah,
and he was an adventurer. And I think that courage, that kind of boldness, you don't find in a lot of even really great actors.
Right.
He was always interested, and so.
You made Zodiac in 2007 and you got to work with Fincher.
Yeah.
And Zodiac it's been 10 years. I think everybody agrees it's a really good movie. There are some people who are like all the way in, like, no, this is the best movie of the 21st century.
You're so right.
You don't understand. You don't understand. Let's go through each scene. Like, there's psychos about it. We have a couple on the Ringer staff.
Yeah.
It's Chris Ryan's favorite movie, who I respect. But Fincher, probably right as he's hitting the peak of his powers. What'd you learn from him?
Well, that year was really interesting for him because he hadn't made a movie for a little while. He had been through a pretty rough divorce, and then I think he had stopped making movies because he wanted to be there for his daughter.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I want to get back into it. And he decided to make Zodiac, but he also decided to make Benjamin Button at the same time. So he made a deal to say, I'll do Benjamin Button if you let me make Zodiac.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like,
it's not like Zodiac was Tango and Cash. It was like a
it was like movie. It was the movie that I think it was the movie that he had wanted to make, that he knew he wanted to make in a particular way.
Yeah.
And
the colors are amazing in it.
I mean,
like, he actually made it seem like 1969 in the first. I don't know how people do shit like that. That's the part as like somebody who's not in the industry. Like, I'm always like, that's just amazing.
It was. I mean, he's extraordinary, Fincher, but like he had one of the best cinematographers to have ever lived in Harris Savides, who shot that movie. So
the big wide TVs have helped that movie.
Oh yeah,
the big HD, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like Zodiac's gonna win long term as the equipment gets better, I think.
Well, there's some scary, really legit scary moments in that movie.
Yeah,
but I also think people who are really love cinema, like they watch that and they go, "We're so used to the resolve, like that." The brilliance of that movie is about, he turns it right back on the viewer in this
Yeah.
way where he's like, deal with your own shit, you know, and you're like, no. And that's, most people are like, good, that's brilliant. Other people are like, whoa, God, can't we just have 7 again? You know?
Right. Yeah, you go in the basement with that dude at the end. It's like, good. This we're going to get some answers. Like, nah,
nope.
You're just going to run out of the house.
Yeah.
We're going to get no answers at all.
No answers. We're going to like bring you into the own sickness in your own mind.
Yeah.
And we're going to just like confuse you and spit you out of the theater. That's sort of, but
You
I
got
think
some Downey Jr. in that movie.
Oh yeah. I got a lot of Downey Jr., man. We did a lot of work together. Another acting lesson I learned. We did an amazing scene where we rehearsed and he decided he wanted to wear red socks and put his red socks up on the table. And then I realized they were in the foreground of my close-up. And he was stealing the scene even with his red socks.
Just like fuck with you?
These are actor tricks, man. You know, you got to be, you know, if you're caught slipping, like that's it. That's what I'm saying. It's like people don't realize.
So he's approaching that almost like a showdown with you.
Oh yeah. It's like he's so brilliant. It's like sometimes like a psychological game. You don't even realize, and you're in it, and he's like, checkmate, bitch. And you're like, fuck. You know, you're in the middle of a scene, and you're like, I'm killing it with all my. Oh fuck, they're looking at his feet. You know, like that's Downey. You know,
Downey. Do you think he goes in the movie like, I'm winning the movie? I'm looking at Ruffalo. I'm looking at Gyllenhaal. I'm taking these dudes down.
Probably, yeah. I mean, somewhere. I mean, no, he is the most like loving, inclusive.
Everybody loves Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very high Q rating with
I think there's a respect.
The industry.
Yeah. There's a respect, a deep respect for Robert, but there's a deep respect when someone gets one over on you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things. I watched that scene, you can see it in the movie, and I just watch every time. I'm like, you idiot kid.
So when the way you played the character in that movie, do you have to, because how do you know, like, all right, I'm going to play him this way. I'm going to play him as kind of like this little nervous, kind of withdrawn into himself, suspicious. Do you study like what the guy was like, or is that just your interpretation of it?
Yeah. The Robert Graysmith, who I play in that movie, he's a real guy, and it's, you know, based on a true story. So he's in existence, and I saw his behavior, and
so you just pick some ticks from him, basically.
Kind of. I mean, you know, some of it's written, some of it's my interpretation. At the time, you know, I was a lot younger. I mean, I'm very different now than I was when I was creating characters. You know, I was trying to figure it out. So yeah, at that time, I watched him, I observed him. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with Graysmith, but yeah.
Is that the movie people bring up to you the most, or what is the movie? Yeah.
Like Donnie Darko, I think. Donnie Darko.
Still,
Brokeback.
wow.
Yeah, Donnie Darko, definitely. It's like some weird rite of passage for people. Like Dustin Hoffman once told me that he said he has all the same fans that he had since The Graduate. They just all have blue hair now.
Yeah.
And like that, I sort of get that, like, you know, but I feel like Donnie Darko is like a rite of passage, like in your college years, like, you know, like take a hit from the bong, Cypress Hill style, and like watch Donnie Darko, you know, and all of a sudden you don't
have people cornering you with their theories of the Zodiac Killer?
No, I really don't.
People out there, if you want to corner Jake, he loves hearing your Zodiac.
There
theories.
it is. There it is.
Huge fan of it. Prince of Persia, 2010, your one superhero movie.
Yeah. And
it didn't go well, and then that was it. You were out.
I mean, it just depends. It's relative what you mean. Well,
you made a lot of money.
I mean, kind of. It was a really interesting adventure. You know, it's like it is an adventure, that movie. It's funny. A lot of people talk to me about that movie being some sort of turn in my career where I decided, okay, I'm going to like do something different. I've talked about that.
That was my interpretation.
Is it?
Yeah. That's not true.
I mean, man, I put just as much work into that one as I have in everything I've done.
But you were jacked.
Right.
You definitely from physically you had like 25 pounds of muscle.
No, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I was young, man. I mean, I was really excited by that idea. I thought it was a really cool idea. And, you know, I think what I realized is it's hard to do the kind of character work that I like to do, like in a movie a certain size. Like if you're going to do a very large movie like that, which I would love to do, I want to do. I'm not like...
So you're open for business for large movies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just
People out there, he's open for business.
Yeah. I just want to be able to create a real character that, people go, oh, he's still doing what I like what he does, true to what I do. But
so what franchise are you jealous of then? Like, do you be like, if in an alternate universe, like, would you?
Born.
I was going to say, Born seems like the ultimate one.
Born is the shit. Born is it.
So you just got to take Mission Impossible from Tom Cruise. You'd be Ethan Hunt's brother, Bob.
Mission Impossible is different
than
Born,
just
though.
Take it. Just one of those spy, you need movies where you're a spy and you're running. Just running as fast as possible.
You run in a weird way. I don't know if you can see this, but his palms are like way far away from his body, and he's running like he's like skiing or something.
So people out there need to rate you a spy franchise.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
But the thing about Born is it's not just that. It's that it is the best concept ever. It's a guy who doesn't know who he is, and then he has to go search for who he is. But he also has like the awesomest fucking fighting skills on earth. And he's like, how am I so awesome? It's like, that's the reason it's great, is because he doesn't know who he is, but who he is awesome. Right. So you're like, oh, whoa. And then you get to make 3 movies about like trying to figure out who you are. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
I liked Source Code.
Thank you.
I like movies like that mess with your brain, and you have to keep reliving things, and always a gimmick that works for me.
Oh, sounds like life. So yeah.
End of Watch. 50 million, not bad.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought I love LA cop movies.
Yeah,
just in general.
Yeah,
I feel like that could almost be a channel. There's not quite enough of them yet, but it'd be like Stars, LA Cops, like that. Be on there. I'd at least flick by every once in a while to see what's on there. Yeah. Whatever. Which one resonated more, do you think?
Which one? In
Source Code versus End of Watch?
I think they're similar in terms of being resonant. I would say End of Watch, because I cannot tell you how many law enforcement men and women have come up to me and just said how we did it right.
Nice.
Yeah. That was that, I spent 5 months on that movie. I spent 5 months in Southeast LA, like with Sheriff Department and Los Angeles, Inglewood and LAPD. And I learned so much about the world and what they do. And they didn't hold a lot back, and that was incredible. And I hope.
What does that mean? They didn't hold a lot back?
Well, over time, I mean, look, when you have ride-alongs and things like that, initially, like you see journalists do those things and they do them for like a couple nights or whatever, and you're putting those guys in danger. Like those women and men who are doing that job, when they have to carry 2 more people or 1 more person in their car with them, it's like they have to look after you and they have to do their job, right? And I also think that there's usually like they initially want to put out this idea of like perfection, as we all do in what we do. And then over time, I think you start to learn the human beings behind the badge. And I think that's what I mean. And it was really 5 months with 5 different sets of partners that we spent time with, both me and Michael Pena, who were in that movie. And we learned about them as humans. Like, whenever you get to know anybody, you get to know they got their complications, and they're also pretty incredible.
Prisoners you wouldn't watch that one 10 times.
Yeah, that's Denis Villeneuve.
It's a good one watch.
That's Denis, and he's an incredible, he did Arrival, and he did Sicario, and he did Blade Runner. It's coming out.
Sicario was a good one.
Yeah.
2014 Nightcrawler.
Yeah. That movie was a movie I produced with one of the first movies. I mean, I executive produced End of Watch, but I produced Nightcrawler, and that was an incredible group of people, and just this amazing script that Dan Gilroy wrote, and his first time director, and he just killed it. I mean, that was like, talk about an experience that stays with you. That character definitely stayed with me. It's like, yeah, he's intense.
First time director, you start like bullying him around, tell him, hey man, let me tell you how this goes.
Yeah, no, because I was like not eating for that movie, and I lost a ton of weight, and I was like basically out of my mind. So I wasn't doing much but the great Bill Paxton is in that movie, and he's incredible in that movie. And I do believe that everything that man was in and everything that he touched was successful because he was in it. Even if he plays like a small part in the different movies we've seen, you look at his work, all the movies are successful, and I think it's because of him.
One more break to talk about MyBookie. From a gambling standpoint, we're going to remember the 2010s as the decade when live betting took off. And where you're betting at is just as important as who you're betting on. So here's an idea. Go to mybookie.ag. They've been in this business for years. Their reputation is rock solid. They do 100% cash bonuses. So off the bat, you're making money for doing nothing. And they have the fastest payouts. Seriously, just 2 business days. They have in-game live betting. They have the most rewarding player perks in the business. They have an all-new mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. That's right, in-game live betting. You could add the Pats, probably plus 135 heading into that last drive that last week. Lay down some cash, try to win big today. Join now. MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. Just visit mybookie.ag. Use promo code Bill Simmons to activate the offer. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, let's finish up with Jake Gyllenhaal. So you've done the Lost a Ton of Weight movie. You've done the boxing movie.
I love my career's been like whittled down to like a few phrases.
You haven't done the Put On 45 Pounds movie.
Yeah, well, hopefully I have a little more time. Then after that, I'm done, right?
There's a couple more we can come up with.
Oh, okay. Cut your hair really short movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jarhead. That's already done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did that one already.
Yeah.
Have you dyed your hair blonde in a movie?
Oh.
There
you go.
Right.
I grew my beard really long. We've done that movie a couple times. So, Shave My Beard Off movie. Yeah.
How about like handlebar mustache?
Yeah, that's deep in the toolbox. I don't ping that out unless I have no fucking idea about the character. that's when I pull
what
that
about
out.
like an 1860s Western?
Yeah, actually, I did just do that. I just did a movie with this incredible director, Jacques Audiard, who did this movie, A Prophet, and he with Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly. Yeah, it's coming out probably next year. Joaquin Phoenix, John C. Reilly, Riz Ahmed, like amazing cast.
Nice.
And yeah, and I have a bit of a handlebar in that. So, and it is 1850 Oregon. Gold rush. So there you go. I guess cross that one off my list.
We're running out of time, so I got to ask you about Southpaw.
Go, just talk faster.
Boxing movie.
Okay, what?
You had to do a boxing movie because you love the craft, and all great actors have to do a boxing movie. It's just the rule. Who hasn't done a boxing movie who's an actor who's at a certain level? So you had to do it.
Right.
How much boxing training?
That 6 months of boxing training. I didn't know how to box at all, so I did it twice a day. I was like,
do you feel like did you hit that point that it seems like most people hit where they're like, I could do this?
No.
Okay. Because I think De Niro thinks he could have like won the welterweight title or whatever.
Well, that's why he's really good in that movie. Yeah. I definitely felt like I got really good, and I feel like I learned so much, and I didn't even know how to box, and now I feel really confident, with my skills. And but yeah, there was a moment when we were filming where we were fighting, and I was like, truthfully, like, yes, there was a moment where I was like, okay, I could probably do a little bit of like amateur stuff that but I also know like, no.
Yeah.
Not when you see what everybody they go through.
Who's your wife in that movie who dies? Who plays the wife?
Rachel McAdams.
It's rough, man. I have to say, I knew it was coming, and it's only like 20 minutes in the movie. You're like, oh, whoa, is she going to die? Wait a second. Because you think it's Rachel McAdams. You think she's going to be in it.
I know. You're like, I like her better more than I like him.
Yeah,
why is he die? Why isn't he
die? Don't kill Rachel. Can she at least be in the hospital for a while?
I want to see her in a boxing movie. I know. Well, somebody said to me the other day, they were like, hey, what was that movie? I'm trying to think. I loved it so much. It's the one where your wife died. And I was like, there were 3 movies in a row where I didn't, like, no joke, where that happened. So I was like, I don't know. There was a weird period of time in there where that just great stories and that happened, and I'm not sure why. But
it seems like you could have mixed in a rom-com in here just for your own sanity. Maybe he could have just been like an architect too. He
was like, literally turned around. He was like, these things keep me sane, honestly. Like being able to get out, what's in here in my head and in my heart is, very helpful. It's like what is so cool about my job. You can be crazy and people are like, oh, amazing, right. So it's the best part, you know what I mean? And they pay you, so it's like, what? That's why we're all like total narcissists, so.
Everest?
Yes. Yeah.
Really good big TV movie.
Yeah.
Nice shots of the mountain. Not a happy ending. It's good though. When it's on, it's on the cable rotation now, and I'm like, all right, I'm in for 40 minutes, and you just kind of get sucked in. It's good. I don't know. I like those movies when you have to put yourself in the situation of the characters in a bad situation. Yeah. And that's definitely one of those. Like, all right, what would I do?
Yeah, what would you do?
I don't know. I first of all, I wouldn't have climbed the mountain, so I wouldn't have been in there. It's
crazy thing to do.
That's not a feel-good movie. I guess it kind of is a feel-good movie. I mean, who gets saved at the end, but they don't have a nose? Yeah. It's like, I'm still alive. I don't have a nose.
Josh Brolin has no nose. Yes.
I'm still here. My nose is gone. Nocturnal Animals, Tom Ford.
Yeah.
What was he like?
Well, Jeff Bowman makes fun of me in this thing we did where he's like, what was that movie where you fell on your gun and you shot yourself? And I'm like, we did this like video we did together. He interviews me and I was like, Nocturnal Animals. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, you fell on your own gun and you shot yourself. It's like, you're an asshole. But yeah, I mean, Tom Ford is incredible. I mean, I just don't believe how his mind works, you know? He wrote the screenplay and he sent it to me. It was just amazing. Screenplay was amazing. I was like, I kept flipping back. Like, does it say was written by Tom Ford? Like, this is incredible. And then working with him, you know, is the same way. He's meticulous. But he also really loves actors and he gave us a lot of space. And
the movie visually was really cool.
Yeah.
Like the colors were, that was another movie with weird colors and
people,
whatever.
Yeah.
And then Stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of others. No, I skipped over like 20.
Skipped over a lot. There's a lot more. There are like 40.
Man. You might want to take like 4 months off.
I did do a musical on Broadway this winter, and the cast album came out on the Friday, September 22nd, same day Stronger came out. So, that I'm very proud of too, besides the movies I'm in and, you know, just being on stage too. Cause I
think you need to mix this. I think you need a lighthearted sports movie.
Dude, I'm all in.
Like
but I'm getting older. So like
kind of like a for love of the game type of.
Ooh, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Aging guy trying to keep it together. Like he used to be the best.
Like Major League, like Tom Berenger.
Yeah. You need a used to be the best, but still trying to keep it together.
Tom Berenger. Tom Berenger. Yeah.
Major League is, by the way, it's held up. Classic.
Have
you seen your sister's show, by the way?
Not yet. But I can tell you that I know she's incredible in it because she is incredible. And
it's a great show.
You've seen it?
Well, I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Why don't you interview her?
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
No, I'm kidding. Anyway,
I would love to interview her.
I'm kidding. Yeah, she's like, I know when she nails it because I can feel that energy. It's like, she's very excited about it. She's excited about the work she did in it, and she loves the people she works. She loves David Simon, and she loves Pellicano, and she loves James Franco. And
when was the last time you guys worked in the same movie? Like
Donnie Darko. Yeah.
So you need to have some sort of sibling. There's some sort of thriller.
Sibling thriller would be so awesome. Can you imagine sibling thriller?
Write that one down. Get that one down. Sibling thriller. Maybe you're trying to contest the will. It's just, it keeps spiraling out of control.
We leave weird notes in each other's houses, like middle of the night, you know? Like, yeah.
You're married to somebody she doesn't like. Yeah. She just takes her out.
Yeah.
Good luck with the movie. It's excellent. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I know I was probably one of the wheelhouse audiences for it, but I thought it was fantastic. I thought you were great in it.
No, it was actually really women over 35, but you know.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, apparently, but you fit right in there.
I would say everybody in Massachusetts would be right there.
Oh yeah, probably people in Massachusetts, but our core audience is really women over 35. But
it's excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, man.
It's been an honor. All right. It's an honor.
Thanks to SeatGeek for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase on NFL tickets. Use promo code BSNFL. Thanks to Hotel Tonight. We're the app that helps you find amazing hotel deals up to 7 days in advance. Perfect for an unexpected trip or a spontaneous staycation. Play it by ear, knowing you have the freedom to score a great place and a great price. All it takes is 10 seconds. 3 taps and a swipe. Grab killer last-minute deals. Download the Hotel Tonight app now. Thanks to Gillette. Did you know a Gillette razor blade edge is thinner than a single brain cell? That's the product of many brain cells at work. From the thousands of men and women at Gillette, they're always working harder to make your shave better. You can get Gillette blades for less at GilletteOnDemand.com. Gillette, the best a man can get. Pricing applies to select products and is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Don't forget about TheRinger.com. Don't forget about the Ringer Podcast Network. Don't forget about my column on Fridays on TheRinger.com. Mailbag/NFL picks. We'll be back on Friday with one more podcast. Thanks for listening.